Hey, it's Pastor Dan from Dexter Gospel Church with another Proverbs Practical. I appreciate you watching. This proverb looks to the consequences of murder. It's in Proverbs 28, verse 17, and it says, "A man that does violence to the blood of any person shall flee to the pit. Let no man stay him." God has always hated violence and murder. He created humanity in His own image. So when someone kills another human being, they aren't just striking down another living soul, they're destroying a tiny piece of God's presentation of Himself in this world. And that's true whether a person is a good person or a bad person, saved or unsaved. We're all made in God's image, however poorly we may display that. We're all something more precious and valuable and eternal than anything else in this world. So God says that if a person has the guilt of another person's death, their blood upon them, they are headed for destruction, for death themselves, for the pit. It's a term commonly used for the grave. It may be that their own guilty conscience is driving them to flee, even if no one is pursuing them, and they will inevitably fall. The wording here does seem to imply guilt, being inwardly pressed. For most people, killing another human being is devastating. Even soldiers often have a terribly difficult time taking lives, even when it's justified. There's something in us that just knows that it's tragic when humans die, and we recognize it as evil and twisted when someone loses that awareness. So those who murder are often burdened by that guilt, and they carry it with them all the way to the grave. Yet internal guilt isn't the only force that drives people's lives and destinies. Providence and judgment may also be driving this person to destruction. They may have thought that they were fleeing a problem by killing someone, but the reality is that they were fleeing to their own destruction. The God who brought judgment upon Cain, the God who created every human in His image, the God who loves every person in the world, will not sit idle and allow people to murder others without consequence, even if they rationalize it to themselves. There will eventually be judgment. And as far as God is concerned, only blood can answer for blood. Only death can pay for death. The grave, the pit, is the destiny for any who murder the innocent. The last part of the verse is the interesting bit, though, to me. It seems pretty obvious that God's against killing. He says, "Thou shalt not kill," and He's the judge of all the earth. So we get that. But then it says to let no man stay the person who has that guilt of blood upon him. To stay would be to hold up or restrain or prevent this person from going to the pit. Now, God is merciful, and God even showed mercy at times to those who had slain others, like He did with David, though there were still terrible consequences. Does this mean that we shouldn't be merciful? That we should just step out of the way and let any killer plunge into the grave unprevented? Does it mean we should seek the death penalty in every murder case? One popular interpretation of this verse would be that it's not possible to prevent him from coming to some sort of justice. He's fleeing to it, and let no man stay him just means you can't. Even mercy cannot allay his guilt and some consequence. As with David, guilty of the murder of Uriah, even though mercy was extended, there was still great guilt that you can see in the heart of David from the things that he wrote, and terrible consequences that came upon him, his family, and the nation. More likely, though, I think this is warning against aiding, abetting, and covering for the killer. To assist the murderer, even in getting away with his murder, is to partake of some of the guilt of that act. It's one thing to seek mercy for the contrite and penitent, to ask for leniency in sentencing for one who has confessed their crime and acknowledges its wrongfulness. This isn't somebody who's contrite and seeking mercy, though. He's fleeing, not repenting. This is someone who's still trying to escape their guilt and judgment. For one who still tries to flee the guilt and consequences of their act, this seems to say that in the case of murder, we should offer no aid, no hiding spot. We shouldn't do anything that would prevent justice from being done. It's not because we're unmerciful. It's because mercy cannot operate until justice is acknowledged. And God is especially concerned with justice when it comes to the blood of the innocent. I hope this video is a help to you. If it is, hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more like it. Until next time, I hope you stay well and respect innocent life.